Sovereign of Fortune by Mason Paul. Copyright 2024, all rights reserved. Mind if I tag along? She asked, smiling big from the exhilaration of her ride. Though he would have preferred some time alone to lick his wounds, he didn't want to appear rude, especially to the girl who made Hunter yelp like a hurt puppy. Besides, he had a problem saying no to beautiful women, especially when they smile. Sure. Jasmine dismounted her bike and pushed it along as she walked beside him. Hey, I'm really sorry about what happened today. I hope you don't mind that I intervened. It was really hard to watch, she said. It's okay, Zach said. It was fun to see him get humbled. Not as fun as doing the humbling, she chuckled. Tache, he replied, already feeling a little better. Why was he picking on you anyway? Normally those guys just do their thing and leave. We used to go to grade school together, middle school and high school too. He used to do that type of stuff to me all the time in gym class. Zach shrugged. Guess he had a flashback or something. Jasmine stopped in her tracks. Are you fucking kidding me? She exploded. Are you telling me a grown man is still pulling the same stunts he did when he was in high school? Why? That's ridiculous. Trust me, that guy's got real emotional problems. She resumed pushing her bike. Tell me about it, Zach commiserated. Still, why now? She said, scratching the back of her head. Why pick today to have such a regression? I don't know, Zach moped, trudging along the sidewalk. So I have a confession to make, she admitted, turning and stopping him with a flash of bronze bosom in the décolletage of her shirt, which flared open as she whirled on him. What's that? He replied as he nervously switched his gaze to the passing street traffic. I overheard some of your conversation, she started, suddenly conscious of her shirt blown open by the ride, revealing a tight sports bra, its contents straining against the fabric. Oh, Zach replied, turning away from the unintentional display to keep trudging down the sidewalk. He took a few steps before he asked, How much did you hear? Well, actually, all of it, she confessed to him, blushing a bit while she self-consciously pulled her shirt back together. Zach felt himself blushing too, but he hid it by keeping up his slow march, face to the sidewalk, head hung low. Well, that's embarrassing, he admitted. Why should you feel embarrassed? Jasmine snapped. He's the one who should be embarrassed. What he said was tacky and disgusting. He obviously feels threatened by you. Zach laughed and, looking up, replied, Hey, listen, I appreciate you trying to make me feel better and all, but there's no way I can believe that Hunter feels threatened by me. Her brown eyes flared. And why is that, may I ask? Well, look at him, and look at me, he complained, his hands gesticulating widely with self-pitying grandiosity. And? Her dark eyebrow arched. Well, he's tall, strong, captain of this, leader of that. Girls want him. Guys want to be him. I'm just a regular guy, who sucks at his only sport, and who's on the verge of flunking out of school. He droned, his posture sinking. He paused and added, Again. He lost the will to keep trudging for a moment. Something about you intimidates him, or else he wouldn't have tried to put you down like that, Jasmine explained. He was trying to make you feel the way you make him feel. This reinvigorated Zach's pace as he strode to keep up with Jasmine. Her long legs, accentuated by tight leggings, kept a rhythm next to her bicycle. She glanced back at him, an eyebrow arching gracefully above her eye, enhanced by a distinct mole. The gesture highlighted the sparkle in her gaze. A lock of her hair fell in front of her face, so only one eye shined at him, over a chiseled cheekbone that peeked out from behind the black curtain swinging from her head as she walked. She twisted her head forward again and flipped those long, raven tresses at him. They walked together for a moment in silence before Jasmine spoke again. What's your major? She asked. Computer science. Wow, you must be really smart, she said. Sorry if that sounded patronizing, but I mean it. CS is not for sissies. Yeah, whatever, Zach responded slowly. I hate my major, and to be honest, I don't really know what I want to do, other than get a good job when I graduate. He hung his head again, adding, That's if I graduate, and the way things are going right now, I don't know if that's going to happen. You know what, Zach? Jasmine said, losing a little patience with his sulking. You seem like a decent guy, but you should try having a little more faith in yourself. She looked up and all around to reorient herself after retreating from the conversation, realized they had arrived at her street corner, and said, Hey, this is my turn. Zach kept walking as if he didn't hear her. He did, but he was still processing all that she had shared just now. So Jasmine swung one elegant leg over the bike and mounted the seat in a smooth hop. She gave Zach one more toothy grin for the road, mostly because she noted that it stopped him in his tracks every time. Looking him in the eye softly but insistently, she said, "I'll catch you later, okay? Good talking to you." Zach thought she sounded like she really meant it, but it was her look that caught him in his throat just above the heart. "Nice talking to you, Jasmine," he responded, and he meant it too, adding, "You're all right by me." "Thanks," she said, spinning the pedals to get proper purchase with her feet, and then beginning to crank the rotor. She pulled away, responding, "You're all right yourself. See you Tuesday." "Oh, wait," said Zach. He reached in his bag, pulled out the stack of flyers, and handed one to her. "Oh, yeah, I've seen these around. Poor girl. I'll keep an eye out," she said, folding it up and tucking it into her saddlebag. "Thanks," said Zach. "Be careful out there. Who knows what's going on?" "You should be careful, too. It's not just girls who are going missing," she yelled back as she careened away. Zach continued on his way to Kevin's house. He had only taken a few steps before Jasmine wheeled back around, coming to a sudden stop beside him. "One more thing," she said. "Guys lie about girls all the time, so I'd take anything that asshole says with a grain of salt." "I'll keep that in mind," said Zach. "Thanks." "No problem," she said, wheeling her bike around and taking off in the opposite direction. Zach stood on the sidewalk, watching her beautiful ass pulse through tight spandex as she pedaled out of sight, her raven hair flying in the breeze. "What took you so long?" Kevin queried, leading Zach into his living room. Kevin's apartment looked like a museum dedicated to the psychedelic 60s and 70s and reeked of patchouli and incense, among other things. The only illumination came from an ultraviolet black light that gave the Bob Marley and Grateful Dead posters an eerie glow. "Who's this?" Kevin asked, snatching a flyer from Zach's hand. "Some girl at school went missing." "Another one? Too bad. She's cute." "Yeah, these disappearances are creepy. Not just girls, but guys too, gone without a trace," Zach expounded. "Probably just some deranged serial killer," Kevin dismissed. "How did you end up with so many, though?" Kevin had a talent for noticing the distinctly uncomfortable and generally unspoken things that bothered people. He also had the annoying habit of bringing it up in ways that maximized their discomfort. "Oh, I get it," he said with a grin, before Zach could say a word. "You were thinking that if you found her, maybe she'd go out with you? Smart. A bit unorthodox, maybe a little desperate, but at least you've moved on from that Kirby chick." "I got these from Kirby," Zach replied. "What?" Kevin snapped. He smacked his brow. Zach, he muttered, shaking his head. "I ran into her earlier. I'm helping her pass them out around campus." "You ran into her? Did you tell her off for standing you up?" "It's a long story," Zach said. "Make it short." "Connor," Kevin retorted as he plopped down onto the beanbag sofa and reached into a drawer for a sack of green herb. "I ran into her and Hunter on the way to physics and—" "Wait," Kevin interrupted. "Hunter Connor Greenway?" "Yeah, and we got into it before fencing class, and—" "Hate to tell you this, bro, but he's banging her," he said, shaking his head sympathetically. "Do you know that as a fact, or are you just saying that based on his reputation?" Zach challenged. "Bro, what's the difference?" Kevin shot back, taking a water pipe off the coffee table and packing the bowl. "It's a known fact that based on his reputation, if you see Hunter Connor Greenway with a chick, especially a hot chick, he's banging her." Kevin sparked the bowl with a colorful lighter and took a massive rip. "That's circumstantial," Zach said. "Circumstantial?" Kevin repeated as he expelled an enormous cloud of smoke, his mocking tone reaching fever pitch. "Did you change your major again? Are you pre-law now?" He offered Zach the pipe. "When was the last time you changed that bong water?" "I don't know," Kevin shrugged. "Freshman year? I'll pass." "Suit yourself," said Kevin, taking another rip. Zach continued his report, including the incident in physics lab. "Yeah, that girl Alexis is a live wire. Believe me, you don't want to piss her off." "She looked like she wanted to sock me," Zach acknowledged grimly. "Funny you say that. You know Chad, right? Big Chad, not little Chad. She punched Big Chad in the face at the Alpha Omega Christmas party last year, broke his nose in 2 places." "Seriously?" Yeah, well, old Chad may have had it coming. He'd been drinking, maybe read some signals wrong, and got a little handsy with that tall, skinny girl. I forgot her name. Morgan? Zach asked. Yeah, her. I don't know exactly what happened, but words were exchanged, and the next thing you know, Chad was laying on the floor. I can see her doing that, said Zach. I had the feeling she wanted to pop me in the nose. She'd do it, especially if you messed with that Morgan chick. You know they diddle each other, right? I don't believe that, Zach snapped. So my girl Lindsay, we bang when she's in between boyfriends, was on the same dorm hall as those two during freshman year. She said that not only had they been caught on multiple occasions in some compromising situations, but that it was some real freaky shit. Not Morgan, Zach interjected. I mean, I could see Alexis being that way, but not Morgan. She just doesn't look the type. Didn't she have a boyfriend? There is no type, my square friend. And yeah, she did have a boyfriend last year. That guy went away to get his PhD or something like that. Kevin gave Zach a sideways look. Hey, you sound a little sweet on her. Maybe you should try asking her out. She might even be about your speed. Just don't piss off the redhead. You know, I think I recall hearing she used to fight MMA in Amarillo or something like that. If things don't work out with Kirby. Things ain't working out with Kirby, Zach. Can't you get that through your thick skull? Zach went on to describe the incident with Hunter and the wrestling team, and Jasmine's heroic intervention. Man, that's the craziest shit I've ever heard. Kevin laughed. So you got jumped by the entire wrestling team, then rescued by a sexy fencing babe? Kevin shook his head. That's your girl right there. You need to get with her and forget about Kirby. She's nothing but trouble. I wish it were that easy, Zach said. It is that easy, Zach, Kevin said. That girl practically followed you over here. When a woman follows you, she's interested. Next time, invite her in. You can bang her right here, he said, patting the beanbag sofa. I do it all the time. That's when Zach noticed some suspicious-looking stains jumping out at him in the black light. No, I mean, I wish it were that easy to forget about Kirby, Zach replied. Kevin looked at him like he was stupid. Damn it, Zach, he said, his head shaking nonstop at this point, completely frustrated with his friend. You're a funny guy, Kevin contemplated. You go from being wishy-washy to obsessive-compulsive. On one hand, you can't decide what you want to major in. On the other, you hyperfixate on the wrong women. Remember what happened with Jessica? Don't remind me, Zach grumbled. She's the reason I flunked out. Don't blame her, Kevin scolded. She was just living her life, doing what girls do when they move away from home for the first time. Nobody told you to throw the semester away, driving back and forth to Dallas, trying to win her back. I thought she was my soulmate, Zach whined. Kevin burst into a fit of hysterical laughter. Zach, you're killing me, he gasped, trying to catch his breath. I wonder what your life would look like the other way around, if you hyperfixated on the wrong major, but were wishy-washy with the right women. Do you think Hunter was telling the truth about Kirby? Zach brooded, ignoring Kevin's musing. Kevin sneered at Zach like he just farted. Did you hear a word I said? What if Jasmine was right and Hunter was lying? Zach pleaded. Zach, it doesn't matter, Kevin countered, his voice strained with frustration. Would you please take my advice for a change? Forget about Kirby, at least for now, and go talk to some other girls. Don't be such a chicken shit. Roll the dice. Zach looked at Kevin as though he were speaking Cantonese. You know, Zach, Kevin concluded, placing a plate down on the coffee table. As much as I'd love to fix your life, we have other matters to attend to. Zach stared at the warped, gnomish creatures lying on the plate in front of him. They looked like dried, shrunken fairies who died horrible deaths and were about to be served on a platter to aliens as hors d'oeuvres. There was no way he was going to eat one of those. To be continued.